Hey guys, it is Mira Young, and I'm on the go or doing business on the go, and I have an esteemed business owner here with me today in our local area in East Point. And as you guys know, I am the VP of small businesses, but here you can get anything small or big as in trophies. I have Mr. Eric Marcus with me today. Thank you so much for being on the Business on the Go. And today I want you guys to learn some lessons learned from Mr. Eric Marcus, who is a esteemed business owner, a family man, an amazing husband and father.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yes. Well, I want to kind of jump right into your journey as being a business owner, and how did you even get here to this place of owning Royal Trophies?
So some people would ask the question, why trophies?
Right.
And so, that wasn't something that I would say, you know what, I want to own a trophy shop. That was not on my radar. What was on my radar was being a business owner. And so for me, I knew that I didn't want to start something from scratch. So that was always my thing. I didn't want to start something from scratch. I'm not the youngest chicken in the bunch. And so I needed something that was a little bit more established. And so for many years, I've been serving as a Cub master for my local Cub Scout pack. So I have 4 sons. And so I can't recall the age of the oldest, but we've been doing. Well, 16. I'm thinking about the time when this all transpired.
Okay.
But he's 16 now, the oldest. But that was a season where we was coming up here to get our Pinewood Derby trophies. And so that's a big thing in Cub Scouts. So we'll get Pinewood Derby awards. And so I remember one particular year being up here, and I was just thinking, this seemed like a cool business to be into. That's all I had.
What?
I know. That was all I had. This seemed like a cool business to be into. That's all I had. And so I mentioned that to my wife, and I said, that seemed like a cool business to be into. And I said, I'm going to ask him if he would be willing to, sell it one day. And so I literally I came home. And I was on my lunch break, working from home. And so I drove right back up here. And I said, Mr. Dave, when you get to a point in your career when you don't want to do this anymore, I would love to talk about the future of this company. So that was how I kind of phrased it. So I said,
And you were on your lunch break. What were you doing at the time?
I was a product manager.
Okay.
For a software company.
Okay.
And so he just kind of like, okay.
So from software to trophies, he's like, this guy has to be joking.
Right,
He's like,
right. Well, he didn't know all that part.
Okay.
He just knew me as a customer.
Right.
But what was crazy is that whenever I would try to discuss it, it was always as if I'm talking about it for the first time. Like, you're Eric? Okay. So it was always weird. And so this process took over 3 years. And so I was just kind of staying in touch with him.
Wow.
Just staying in touch with him.
But no more conversation beyond
nothing,
the customer.
Nothing.
Oh,
nothing.
So just an exchange kind of. Okay.
More so me exchanging to him.
And him being like, okay.
Yeah. And so this was my logic behind it, was that I felt like at some point he would want to let it go because he was an older gentleman. And so I was like, he's older. He's not going to want to do this forever.
Right.
And so near the end of 2018, I just got an email out the blue. Hey, Eric, are you still interested?
What?
Yeah. Are you still interested in the business?
Oh my gosh.
And
are you kidding?
I was like, yes. Now, mind you, I would always try to get an idea of how much something like this may cost.
Right.
It wasn't like I had a whole bunch of money just sitting around. And so, he worked it out so that we can get into it. And he taught my wife all this stuff because I was still working.
Okay.
And she taught me. And
so this guy that act like he just did not really care what you had to say. He's just like, yeah. One day emailed you and was like, I'll show you the game. I'll tell you everything I know.
Right. Well, after we agreed on what this
Right.
But yes. And so he taught us this whole thing. And so this was in December, and everything changed hands February the 9th of 2019.
2019,
Yeah.
okay.
So it was like almost like a month and a half worth of discussion.
Okay.
And so I was trying to, and what was funny, when it was time to make that jump, I was like,
very nervous,
like, oh
nerve-wracking. Yeah.
So if it wasn't for my wife that was willing to kind of be that bridge,
That's
I don't know.
beautiful.
I don't even know if this would happen because, they just cold turkey leave culprit.
Yeah.
And then the other part about it was we kind of, when you come in here, it seems pretty slow. It's like one customer, you don't see a whole lot of people just coming in.
Right.
But once we got in this bad boy, we're like, whoa.
It's like you're on for a ride.
So my wife was like, hey, Eric, this is a whole lot. Because at the time, we were homeschooling our kids.
Oh.
And we are now. But trying to manage that and everything that was happening, man, it was nerve-wracking. And so I ended up walking away from my job March.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like, but this is my logic. We're all in.
Right.
And I'm like, I can't be trying to manage this over here and try to manage this part-time.
Something's
I had to jump on in. And so we did it, and we made it work.
And one thing I love about Royal Trophies, and one thing I love when I talk to you is when I talk to you, you made it feel like I was home. Like just having a conversation with you, it wasn't so, like, I know you sold software for a living,
right,
but you never give salesy. You always give, get it, if you choose, if you would like.
Right.
And I think that is what really has, cultivated me to be drawn into just starting a relationship with you, because it's not salesy. It's more of, this is what I have to offer. If you're interested, that's great. And
right.
I think that's a great way to, open up the conversation of, that's probably how your customers feel.
Yes.
When they walk in here, they feel like it's home, and they feel like they can come here, and this is the home of where they can get their awards and trophies.
Absolutely, because I know what it's like to feel pressured into something.
Right.
And I never want anyone to feel like, well, here's my belief. I understand that people have options.
Yes.
And so as I provide service, I want them to feel as though, even though they have options, we're going to make them feel like, hey, they have our interests at heart. And they don't, and I remember working with a customer, and I gave them the price, and she was like, well, you could charge us more. Oh. And so I was like, because someone else was charging them a rush to do this job. I said, but this isn't a rush for me. And so my thought process behind it, if it's not a rush for me, I don't want to ever charge you something and you have to wonder, is he charging me more?
Right.
And so, I want to be fair. And
to put it in a nutshell, it's a genuine feeling.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
absolutely.
genuine, and you coming into this business. So before you came into, when you first came into the business, now you're at a point, you're here, you left your job cold turkey. What's next for you? What did you think? What did you think was next on the horizon for you, your family, Royal Trophies? What did you think?
Well, interestingly, when we first made that jump, it was more so kind of dealing with that reality. Like, oh man, it's like,
yeah.
It's like, you spend all this time working for someone else.
Yeah.
And then once you start doing it for yourself, it definitely feels a little weird. It's like, like, man, I don't have to, or I can do this. And so it creates a need to be more disciplined with your time.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Because there's no one to say, do this, do that, do this. you know, you're going to have the responses to the order and fulfilling those, but those more strategic things, you know, working on the website, working on your marketing, working on email campaigns, you know,
working on finances,
Yeah.
ensuring, you know, taxes are done.
Right.
It's so much that goes into being a business owner.
Yeah, and so you have to learn how to manage all of that, and it's actually one of the things that I feel has been the hardest but most rewarding work that I've ever done.
And why do you say it's rewarding? Is it because of the smile on the faces you
It
get?
is. It is. It feels good, and it feels good when you see have everything making sense.
when the dollars is making sense, you like.
But you also see it when it's whoa.
Yeah, but still to see, you know, you're able, and this is something that when I walked in, I was like, these trophies are actually pretty affordable, and not even joking. Like I was walking around and I'm like, all of this stuff is pretty affordable. Even when I went on your website and I first talked to you, I was like, this is affordable. I need me some pens. I need me a couple things. And I was, when I initially talked to you, I was telling you about my nonprofit, and I was like, we're going to be doing the award ceremony. I'm going to need some awards. So when I talked to you, I'm like, these awards probably going to kill me in price. I'm like, oh my gosh. So when I walked in, I was like, okay, this is doable. Now we talking. And I'm not talking about, you know, $55. I'm talking like if you got a sport, you can get something for a low cost, under $20. And the engraving is already included. And when I talk to you and I'm like, so what's the turnaround time? And you like a week. I'm like, online, they telling me 3 weeks. What if they mess up my name? It'll mess up the name of the people. Well, so I think that just having someone locally that I can feel comfortable with and talk to about the product that I want. And it's so easy to get it outsourced, like you said. Like it's so easy to go online and be like, I'm gonna get it for $2, and then they charge $5 for the name, then they charge $5 for the date, and then they charge $7 extra if you want a signature or a different font. So it's like, it's so easy to do that, but to be able to have, to be able to come to you and say, okay, this is what I need and this is what I want is great. And I was like, oh, do you just do trophies? And you were like, no. And when I talked to you, you had something similar to this on today.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, do you wear this all the time? You're like, yeah, my sons told me, gotta rock my own brand. I'm
That's
like,
right.
I love it.
Well, yeah, you know, so interestingly, when we first was in the business, it was strictly awards.
Okay.
But then there was this thing called COVID.
Oh, yeah.
So COVID happened. And so that created this opportunity for us to say, you know what, we have to do something that would make us relevant in this season.
Right.
So that's when we started doing the face masks and the hand sanitizers.
Oh.
And then that whole aspect just really evolved into just providing promotional and branded apparel all across the board. And so now, you know, people are coming to us for their t-shirts, family reunion t-shirts, their uniforms, their hats, and also their pens, their cups, their journals, backpacks, any type of promotional type of thing item as well.
And again, all at an affordable price.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I want to talk about your time management. So usually you have a job, and this is for people, this is for the viewers that may be thinking about owning a business or acquiring a business. What would you say to them about the key of time management? Because, you know, you like, I can get it done when I want to get it done. But what's the importance and the value of when you start in a business and in having that time management?
So it kind of goes back to that whole 80-20 rule. So you know, the 80-20 rule is, you know, 20% of the work have 80% of the impact, something like that.
Yes.
And so you have to focus on those big pieces that's going to have the most impact. Everything is not going to have the most impact. And so you have to kind of pick and choose what will make the biggest impact. And I'm going to be honest with you, when you're starting out, it's really, you know, some people get so caught up on their business cards, their website, their logo. That is important.
Yeah.
But what's really important are the relationships. Yeah. You know, who will be those likely customers that will buy this stuff?
Yes.
Whatever that is. And so, you know, I would more so focus my efforts on cultivating those relationships so that because people understand if your logo isn't ready.
Right.
You know, what they care about. Do you have something that they could use?
Right. Today.
Yeah.
Not after the logo's done.
Right. Yeah. So, focusing on having something that people can use in those relationships, and then and build as you go.
And I agree with that, because I always tell people that I work with in different small businesses, because we work with the government and we work with Fortune 500 companies, and people are so keen on marketing, but I always tell people your service is what matters.
Yeah.
You don't have to have no website. If you know you got a service and a product that's going to sell and that is quality, people are going to buy it.
Yeah.
And that's just it.
Yeah.
And that's rule number one when doing business with the government. What is your service? What is your product? And does it work?
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to just rush to just fill out RFPs and fill out this and that, and they halfway know what they're doing. You gotta have a clear understanding of what is your service, what is your product. And I think that speaks to, how your time is going to be managed, because you know what you're doing, you know when you're doing it, and then you hire somebody to do the marketing.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most important, that's the most important thing. So
I'm going to say this. So
Yeah.
one of the things that I feel that really helped us tremendously is leveraging Google reviews.
yes.
And so one of the things, so when we jumped into the business, he didn't have no phone numbers. All we had were old jobs that was saved. So I didn't have a database. All I had was just what I came in with.
Right.
And the fact that I had this old computer that had most of these old orders in.
And they had the information on the orders. Okay.
Well, no contact information, just their name.
Oh.
So one of the things that I did, everyone that came in, their name, their email address, and their phone number.
Okay.
And then for those people, as we did, as I would feel that we did get good service, I would ask them, can you give us a Google review? And so, right now we have a good number of Google reviews because I asked for those Google reviews.
I think that's a keen thing, because
and now I didn't ask people to just give them who didn't work with us.
Right.
I got a whole lot of people.
Right, you just put it.
I want legit reviews, and I didn't ask people, can you give me a 5-star review? That kind of irks me a little bit. Can you just give me a review?
Right.
Because I'm like, how do you think I'm gonna give you a 5-star?
Right.
So,
but automatically, be like, yeah, give the guy 5-star. But you want people to be honest.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And so people feel that they can trust us because what we're doing is legit.
Yes. And I mean, this Royal Trophies has been in business since 1960s. So the name speaks for itself. So I think you carrying on that legacy, you definitely want to give the same or top quality service
Absolutely.
to the people that have, that come in here and know what they're expecting, because you yourself were a customer before.
Yeah.
So you enjoyed coming to Royal Trophies as well. Yeah. And, you knew what to expect, because like Chick-fil-A, you know what you're going to get every time. So I think that speaks to this guy being so genuine, again, because, not only did you take Mr. Evans up on his offer, but you continue to carry that legacy on. And I have to ask, why not start a business from scratch and start your own trophies company?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, if I was starting something from scratch, it probably wouldn't have been a trophy company.
It wasn't on your radar.
It was not on my radar. But the thing that attracted me to this is what I would call built-in demand.
Okay.
I didn't have to go around convincing someone to get trophies.
Right.
It was just more so just bringing the awareness. But for me, I wanted something that was already moving, and so whether it's buying a franchise or something like that.
Okay.
But something that was just already in motion.
Already structured. Okay.
But because starting a business from scratch is hard.
Yeah.
Starting a business that's already existing is hard, because sometimes, people don't want to go with the new ownership, and people, as they feel some kind of way,
Right.
and then all kinds of things can happen. Some people are tied to the previous owner, and they don't want to work with someone new. You know, you deal with that too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things that kind of come with that, but you know, our philosophy was we just want to treat people right and be friendly, be fair, you know, make it work.
And how has that been working for
It's
you?
been working well. It's been working well. It's been working well. It's been working well. We've been doing well.
So you said if you would start a business, it wouldn't be a trophy business. So what kind of business would
It
it
would
be?
be something in the field of consulting, helping small businesses learn how to sell.
Okay.
Or, you know, building, you know, like a sales team.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I thought you were going to say software.
I actually thought about that, like coming up with like a cool app or something, but
You're over it. Your days are over.
Well,
or
you know, there's some little dibble and dabble, but
Okay.
but yeah, it's
you're committed. You're committed to the
yeah.
mission at this point.
yeah, you know, it's really more so like smart, like every opportunity. I mean, so one of the things that I've come to see is that once you are in business, you begin to see things from a business perspective.
Yes.
And so you can see opportunities a little bit better than you would have if you weren't in business. And so, yeah, I can definitely see things a lot differently now. It's almost like,
Can you break that down for the people watching? Like, what does that employer mindset look like versus a business owner?
So you begin to be trained to see things from a cost perspective. So it's like,
yeah.
when I look at something that I can sell, I think about, okay, well, what costs are involved to make this work?
Right.
And sometimes people just think about the obvious costs that they can see, but they don't think about the non-obvious, like the time,
Right.
the effort, you know,
Yeah.
the hidden costs.
Yeah.
That also impacts your true cost. And so when you look at that, it's like, does this make sense?
Right.
You know, and then, you know, then you think about the market. You know, one of the things, sometimes people are looking for things that is completely brand new. Sometimes it can just be something that's already working.
Right.
You just add a nice little feature to it. It's like, oh, wow.
And it's perfect.
Because, you know, the less you have to educate the market, the quicker they are to adopt it. You see what I'm saying? So,
Yes.
so like if you're having something so revolutionary, most people gonna spend their time trying to figure out, okay, well, what is
it?
this?
Right.
You know,
Right.
whereas, you know, if it's, you know, that's why restaurants, people still are opening up restaurants.
That's
they do
true.
well. They do
That's
well.
true.
People gonna eat.
Every single day. Listen, not gonna miss a meal.
People are gonna eat.
Yeah.
You know, certain things just work.
And people always want to try something new in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's always a great. So let me ask you this. What is something that you would tell someone that is acquired a business that you wish you would have known?
I tell you this. You have to pay attention to your costs. You know, one of the things that is very exciting is like, oh wow, you know, you get into sales, but in the beginning I wasn't paying attention to my costs, and so I was like, oh my goodness, and so once these invoices start coming in, it's like, oh wow. You know, you see this number, but then you see this number. Oh wow,
Right.
you know, it's like I need to make some adjustments.
Right.
And if you don't manage that well, it can really wipe you out. And then some opportunities can be, you know, they're not always, even though it may seem like a big opportunity and it's great, they can be very painful once you get it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to weigh those costs.
Yeah.
Because that's just saying all money isn't good money.
And that is the truth. All money isn't good money.
But that would be one thing that I would do. I would pay more attention to my costs. And then, and actually I've been very fortunate to be connected to what you call the Rice Center.
Yes. Yes.
They have partnered me with some really great advisors
Yes.
who have been great as far as coaching me. But one of the things that I did early is that I'm kind of use other trophy shops as mentors. And so, because the guy who I purchased it from, he was helpful, but unfortunately, he ended up passing away.
I'm so sorry.
Before that year was out.
Before the year that
Right.
you
so
completed your first
right.
owner?
So that September, he had passed away.
Oh, wow.
And later that I learned is that he was actually struggling with cancer.
Wow.
But yeah. So having mentors, no one taught me that.
Right.
But get a mentor. Find someone who's in that industry who could be a resource. And some people feel a little weird about that. Like, but my thing was, most people who I believe are successful, they don't mind sharing.
Right. That's the truth.
That's
the truth.
People who are intimidated, they don't share. So you just kind of keep it moving.
Right.
But those people who I know, who I found that's very successful, they are like an open book. Hey, this is what you do. This is how you do. This is how you navigate. And I've actually made some really good friends with some of the other shops in Atlanta who've been a great resource for me as well.
And I think that advice is something that is not told often, is because now we have YouTube, we have the internet, so it's like, I'll just go online, I'll find somebody that's doing something similar and listen to them, but it's a general message there.
Oh, absolutely.
So like having someone, and that's why I was even saying, I'm like, yeah, I can go online and I can get a trophy, but having someone there that I can say, okay, this person is in the city, this person, if I'm, like you said, in Gwinnett, I can go and pick a trophy. You can get it shipped to me, and I know that I can call you if I got an issue.
Absolutely.
I don't know who to call if something goes down.
I mean, I just had a customer just recently. We're doing some awards for their sorority, and they asked about another shop in Texas, and so I called someone. So I said, "Hey, who do you recommend in Texas?" And they gave me 2 names.
Oh, wow! And then you're able to assist
and so
them.
I'm gonna do one part of the order. And then the other shop, they're gonna fulfill the other part of the order.
And that is real collaboration, honestly. And then also you have an amazing name behind you, so it's kind of like it's in tandem. It's like if you're the guy for the job, they'll definitely work with you. But just having that behind you. So let me ask you this. So how would you say it's like owning a business versus being an employee and, trying to manage the business owner and family life?
Well, I'm still trying to get that right.
Okay.
I'll be honest with that. I mean, that is, there's a struggle there because, we're at this age where, so my oldest so I have 16, 14, 13, 11, and 6.
Oh,
and
so you at every age.
Yes. And they all have different needs.
Right.
And so I do the best I can to be present. And so when my wife says, "Hey, Eric, I need blah, blah, blah," I have to make that work.
Right.
And so what I try to do is try to be open and communicate, say, "Hey, this is what's going on." But you have to have some understanding there because it's not going to be, you do this and this is gonna happen. It has to, it's like
a give and take.
It's almost like shifting the pizza. Okay,
It's shipping and shaping and trying to
just
get
trying to make it work. Just trying to make it work.
So
but it's not perfect.
And I mean, from what you were doing before in 2018, you had the opportunity to get days off.
Yeah.
Now, what does your days off look like?
So we're at this weird phase of the company where, we're just getting a lot of work.
Okay.
And so now most of my work is trying to create systems so that all of it doesn't rely on the few people that's here.
Right.
That we can kind of divide the work.
Okay.
And divide the mindset. And a lot of that has to do with me getting a lot of this stuff out of my head into processes.
Right. And that was similar to Mr. Evans. He was just forget about it.
He was a solo all the way. He did it all by himself.
Really?
Yes. He had someone working with him, but he was like, "Hey, this is what I'm going to do." And so he, you know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought at least he had a team of 2.
No,
Wow.
it was all him. And,
Oh my gosh.
And I knew I didn't want that to be me.
So these systems that you put in place now, do you think that we can expect some other royal trophies popping up in the near future?
Now that's a possibility. You know, that would be nice. I wouldn't rule that out.
Okay. And so going back to your family, is your 16-year-old son excited to come after you in the royal trophy business, or he has his own thing going on?
I have one of my sons have expressed interest.
Okay.
That's my 13-year-old.
Okay.
But they all have their different interests, and so
Right.
and what's cool about this company is that some aspect of their interest can be expressed here. So like even like my oldest, who's very technical, I've been working to try to get him on our website to kind of work on some things behind the scenes. All of them going to have to get some of that customer service experience.
Right,
because,
right.
Just being able to communicate on a professional level is just very important, and that's cross. It doesn't matter where you work; you have to be able to do that.
That's so true.
And so they're all going to. Well, they all have been here before.
Well,
got little aspects of it.
Yeah. So, is it any educational components within Royal Trophies that kids 13 can learn?
Honestly, so it's all about. Well, so one of the things that if for those who work with us, you're going to learn about not cutting corners. So we have there are plenty of opportunities where we could do something and no one would know.
Right.
But for us, we're like, we can't do that. And so it may call us to either fit something that they can't see. It may cause a slight delay, but for us, we want everything to be right. And so even if there's been times, and so to me, that's the integrity behind what we do.
Yes.
It's almost like if someone built a house, they know that beam might be slightly off.
Right.
And to the naked eye, no one will
it
ever
looks
know.
Perfect. Right.
But for us, we don't want anything to come back and say, and someone feel how that might impact them down the road. So that's why we try to keep everything up front, and so they will see that as they work. Because my thing is this: as you work, your work ethic, it goes with you wherever you go.
That's true.
And so, whether you're working at a trophy shop, bagging groceries,
Right.
or running a Fortune 500 company, certain aspects of it, it goes across the board. And so your integrity, it's everything.
That is very valuable.
Yeah, it is.
And definitely for young men to have integrity
Absolutely.
in this terrain. And I want one of my last questions I have to ask you, being a Black business owner in Atlanta, everybody knows it's the best. They always rave about it.
Right.
But what would you say it's like being a Black business owner in this economy right today after COVID?
Well, so I've never really branded myself as a Black business. I wanted to be a business that does good work. It just so happened the owner's Black.
Okay.
And so I never really led with that. I just want to lead with good service.
Right.
Because I wouldn't want folk to feel like they have to work with me because I am Black.
Right.
I want them to work with us because they know we're going to get it done.
Quality
and get
service.
It right. Yeah.
Right.
And so that's kind of how we position it, because I remember someone saying, hey, you need to put Black-owned business on your logo, on your website. I said, well, for me, they're going to see that on my site. I just want them to know that we provide good service and that we're going to get it right. And for us, we own, if we make a mistake, we own it. And even if the customer makes a mistake, we try to make it work so that it's not like, oh, you really messed up. You know, we try to make it work for them. Because for us, I believe in that philosophy: treat others the way you want to be treated.
All the time.
And so that's how we operate.
Well, I really appreciate you for welcoming me into your lovely establishment where you do business. And it was a pleasure also to meet you at the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs, also known as RICE. And are you a stakeholder there?
I am.
Okay, so as a fellow stakeholder, I know that I'll definitely be working with you in the near future. And I want to say to my audience, it is, if you are in the state of Georgia, you have to come down to Royal Trophies.
Absolutely.
You have to come down to Royal Trophies. And if you are a business owner and you want to do business on the go, as a staffing company, we usually don't do one-offs, but I make exceptions for people that come on our show and do business on the go with us. So until next time, you guys stay blessed.